I robbed my wife's affair partner, which has now led to his divorce. So my wife had been acting weird for about 2 months. Coming home late, being super protective of her phone. You know the drill. I had this gut feeling, but I didn't want to be that paranoid husband. Then one night, she left her laptop open and I saw the messages. Some guy named Brett from her work. The texts were disgusting. They were talking about how I was boring and how they couldn't wait for their next hotel meetup. I felt like my world just collapsed. 7 years of marriage down the drain. But instead of confronting her right away, I decided to get creative. I knew Brett was married too because my wife had mentioned his wife Christina a few times when talking about work events. So I started following this dude. Not in a creepy stalker way, but I learned his routine. Every Tuesday, he'd go to this fancy coffee shop downtown during lunch. Always ordered the same thing. Always sat at the same corner table. Guy was predictable as hell. Here's where it gets interesting. Brett always left his wallet on the table when he went to the bathroom. Every single time. So one Tuesday, I went in, ordered my coffee, and sat nearby. When he got up to pee, I walked over and took his credit card. Not to steal money or anything crazy, just borrowed it for like 5 minutes. I went to the flower shop next door and bought the biggest, most romantic bouquet they had. Added a card that said, "For my beautiful Christina, can't wait for tonight. Love you forever, Brett." Had them deliver it to his house that same afternoon. Then I put his card back before he even came out of the bathroom. Dude had no idea anything happened. That evening, my wife came home all flustered. Apparently, Brett had been freaking out at work because his wife was blowing up his phone. Turns out, Christina got the flowers right when she was having lunch with her mom and sister. She was so excited, posting about it on Facebook, calling all her friends about how romantic her husband was being. The problem was, Brett had no clue what she was talking about. When Christina showed him the card in his handwriting, he swore up and down he never sent flowers. She thought he was playing some weird joke. Then she checked their bank account and saw he'd spent $60 at a flower shop he claimed he'd never been to. Brett tried explaining, but it just sounded insane. Christina started thinking he was either cheating or having some kind of mental breakdown. She demanded to see his phone, found all the texts with my wife, and boom. Their marriage exploded overnight. My wife kept complaining about how Brett's wife was being crazy and how he was stressed at work. She had no idea I was the one who lit the fuse. A week later, Brett moved out of his house. Christina took the kids and went to her sister's place. I waited another week before I confronted my wife with screenshots of everything. She tried to deny it at first, then got mad at me for violating her privacy. We're getting divorced now, but at least I'm not the only one whose life got turned upside down. Brett lost his wife, his kids, and half his stuff because he couldn't keep it in his pants. The crazy part is I only spent $60 and about 10 minutes of actual effort.